welcome to this week's episode of Chasing the Whimsy. I am your host, Ben, and I'm here with
Liam.
Liam. We got a big one today. We have a theme for episode 37. We got some special guests. Today, our guest is a special one that has been there since the beginning of Whimsy. He has shown that you can build a career through fandom. In 1996, he created a fan site that caught the eye of a rising star in indie film. From there, he started behind the scenes as tech guy, watching indie film evolve into a podcast empire. He has branched out briefly to work with Project Greenlight with Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, before returning home to View Askew. He has stepped out from behind the desk and tried his hand at podcasting. He has hosted podcasts the likes of Puck Nuts for 44 episodes, I Sell Comics for 334 episodes, The Mike and Ming Show for 120 episodes, The Sam and Ming Show for 15, The Secret Stash Live for 38. He was a regular on This Morning Show and countless others. He's also an original resident of TESD Town, where he may or may not have been hypnotized by man love. Announced to the world a secret that everyone already knew, Cliff. Represented Sheldon the Sheep on YouTube in a grueling Pod Wars of 2013, just losing the gold because of a White Castle burger. But found redemption winning the Glory Hole Gold medal in the Bicentennial Battle of 2014. But in typical TESD fashion, victory was short-lived as he lost the 2014 Xmas special and branded with a Tell 'em Steve Dave tattoo. A year later, he had the last laugh, winning the Blue Juice Comics 1 True 3 Invitational, I Sell Comics dominating the flagship game of Tell 'em Steve Dave. With close to, if not exceeding, 1,000 podcast episodes, a love of comics and pulp culture fandom, he reached new heights, casted as one of the main comic book men on AMC's hit reality show that ran for 7 seasons and 96 episodes. In late 2023, next to indie film legend Kevin Smith, this person was awarded the Monmouth Arts Maverick Award. These days, you can spot him almost every weekend at some con in some town, signing autographs, taking pictures, and supporting the fandom that built his career. During the week, he's managing his own podcast empire, a shared universe, a chain of podcast studios, currently with 3 locations. Today, he's with us. We have the pleasure and honor of having Ming Chen.
Hello, everybody. What's up? What's up? Chasing the Whimsy. Nothing. This is a red letter day, my friends. I guided you through the world of podcasting in a class in, I believe, late June.
Yep.
And look at you guys now. I couldn't be prouder. I couldn't be happier. And I'm honored to be on the 37th episode. 37, as you all know, if you're listening to this, and of course you guys know, a very big number in the View Askew Kevin Smith universe. So this is a high honor, and it is fantastic to see the both of you. And that was probably the most amazing intro I've ever heard. So well done, my guys, my friends. Yeah, I've gotten awards, multiple bios written about me, been in newspaper articles and on TV, but nothing can touch that introduction you guys just gave to me. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I took that from Kevin Smith because, like, on a lot of his early Fat Man on Batman, he would do these long, like, 5-minute intros, and I was like, I'm good with my 3-minute intros, so yeah. We were happy with that.
Yeah, but even my Wikipedia page isn't that detailed, so
there's some deep cuts in there.
Oh yeah.
The man love, some of the podcast wars. So I thought it would be fun, a little kickback to 37. That's what the episode is. So we're going to have you in there with, we got Jay Sarge. He's coming on. He's going to be one of the episodes of episode 37.
Amazing.
And then we're going to also, we finally got it confirmed. We got a certain beard guy coming on.
Wow.
So we just got to schedule him after the cruise. So.
Well, even I can't get him on. So I'm going on that cruise with him. I'll let him know what great guys you are and how much fun he's going to have.
It's going to be a fun time. So you were there in the beginning, and You follow us on the socials, and you and I, texted and tweeted back every once in a while. How are we doing? Like for 6 months?
You guys are knocking it out of the park. I've taught many classes at this point, but you guys have literally taken the ball or the mic, as it were, and you guys have ran with it. Um, a lot of people create podcasts. They have fun with it for maybe 10 episodes, and then it tails off. A lot of
Yeah,
people can't. It was like, whoa, this was fun, but they don't. The longevity just isn't there, and it stinks to see because as guys like you and I know, this is fun. This is something we could do for probably for the rest of our lives. We wanted to. So that's one thing. Number two, I've had a lot of podcasters come in here, and maybe they'll be maybe 5 or 10 episodes in, and they're like, hey. So when do we get like Joe Rogan numbers? When do we get 1 million listeners?
right.
When do we get like 100 listeners? I'm like, well, have you marketed? Have you told anyone you have a podcast? Have you gone on social media? Have you created any graphics? Have you marketed or promoted yourself in any way? Like, well, no, that's hard. Or I don't like social media or whatever. And you guys are the exact opposite. You guys are posting. You guys you guys have a almost an animated series at this point. You guys are posting, you guys have a cartoon, comic strip, basically.
Right.
You guys are posting constantly, and more importantly, though, you guys have remained extremely consistent with your podcast, to the tone of recording 37 episodes and beyond. That is a major achievement, and I love it. And I really have to congratulate you guys. I truly couldn't be happier, guiding you through that first episode and the course, and to see where you guys are now. You have a professional setup in your place. You guys have branding. You guys have merchandise. You guys have
Right.
pins. It's really really amazing. So in short, you guys are doing amazing, and
Fantastic.
I want to help you promote and continue and have a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, we're definitely having a good time. And speaking of branding, most people probably won't see the video of this for a little bit, but our logo technically was a Ming Chen original.
Oh yeah, yeah. You told me what you guys wanted. I ran with it. I love making logos and graphics. A few people blow it up to banner size like you guys did. That's like a 10 by 12 banner or something like. It's a
Yeah,
big. It's big, and I love to see it. Well done, my friends.
thank you. So I was also on the socials, and I kind of follow you, and I see you're at a con like every weekend. How many cons did you do this year?
I lost count last year, but I think I hit close to 30. I had to be probably 30. I may have added one or two in there and not and forgot to count them. So, but I was somewhere in the neighborhood of 30, and that's a lot in a 52-week year. That's a
Right,
lot of conventions. I don't really plan it out that way, because we're back in the beginning of the year, and I knew there's some cons that I return to every year, which is cool because it's nice to be invited back. But it wasn't until somebody was like, "Hey, could you make a list of where you are this year?" And that way we can see if you have any gaps in your schedule and maybe help you fill them in. And I made a list and I was like, "Well, I've got 19 events booked already this year."
oh wow.
And it's not 30, but the other ones will fill in. What typically happens is I try to schedule some out because there's some I really love going to back to every year. There's like Comic Palooza in Houston that I go back to every year. There's some in Minnesota that I go back to every year. Um, Typically, what happens is you go to some of these conventions, you'll meet other people who run conventions, and they'll come up. It's like, hey, we're big fans. We're throwing a con in 6 months in like Boise, Idaho, or Portland, Maine, or St. Louis. Would you consider coming out? And I'm like, well, when's the date? And like, oh, I'm free that week. Yeah, I'll totally come out. Here's my email. Let's make it happen. So yeah, the schedule just kind of fills in, and then a lot of random events happen. I think you mentioned the Practical Jokers cruise, which I got invited onto maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and I just got word there are a couple extra cabins on the View Askew cruise, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to come?" And of course, I want to go. So
Right.
that yeah, so these things just kind of happen. It's nice. I'm coming from a place where I was a high school and college kid. I didn't get invited to any parties. I sat at home playing 8-bit Nintendo and chatting with people online, and just basically staying at home behind a computer or watching Star Wars or Star Trek, to now getting invited to cool stuff. It's a good feeling for sure. And not only that, it's not just any party. They're like nerd based parties. They're
Right.
like, they're my world. So it's really nice to be invited and included and stuff like that. And so I don't know if I'm going to hit 30 this year, but you just never know. You just never
Right, for
know.
sure.
Yeah, and last year was pretty exceptional. I got to go to a con in Hawaii. I got to go to a con in Anchorage, Alaska. So those are both pretty mind-blowing
Have you
experiences.
visited every state now?
I'm 4 away now. So Alaska was one of them. So I crossed that one off last year. So this is what I'm missing. I'm missing Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So I'm missing 4. They're
Wow.
all connected. There is a con in Sioux Falls, South Dakota that I've heard of. It's called SuperCon, which I'm gonna send an email and see if maybe they have room for me. I hear someone has asked me to save a date. They have a con in North Dakota in September that they want me to go to, and I just sent an email to a con in Idaho called Gem State Comic Con, just kind of laying it all out. I was like, hey, I would love to come to your convention. I'm a pretty good guest. I show up on time. I'm not a pain in the ass. I don't trash my hotel rooms. I don't get arrested when I'm at conventions, and and I'm pretty good with fans. So we'll see what happens with that. Plus, I'm cheap. I work cheap,
Yeah.
so
Because like I don't it was like a month ago we went to we went to a TUSCon. It was a really small con. So like do you go to like big con? I know you go to like the big ones, but is there any like little tiny ones that you like to go to just to go to?
yeah, I go to all of them. Big. I've been to the biggest cons in some of the biggest cons in the world, San Diego and New York Comic Con. I always go to every year. But I get invited to the 1 or 2 days small like hotel ballroom cons, right?
Okay.
And while
Oh, that
there's
was
a
what we did.
yeah, and there's something special about those smaller conventions. They're guys who are just starting out, so while they might not be able to get like a Chris Evans or some of these huge guests, they run it with a lot of heart. They do what they can with what they're given or what they can provide, but they do it because they love it. They're certainly they're not making millions of dollars throwing a hotel ballroom convention. If they make any money at all, it's a big win. A lot of them
Right.
do it. Say love pop culture so much, they recognize that there's a need in the area. A lot of pop culture fans, and they don't have a convention there. It's like, well, why don't I rent out a hotel ballroom and I'll do it myself? And
Yeah.
a lot of those are what they lack in maybe funding or larger guests. They make up with heart and fun, and I'm all about that for sure.
Right. 'Cause they
So
were definitely like the nicest people there. We had the Sophie, our 3-year-old. She was running around. Everybody was super, super nice. Um,
We had Robert Kurtzman there.
yeah, yeah, the guy who created the Tusk, Mr. Tusk.
right?
Yeah, for sure. He's
Um, we,
a legend in the special effects makeup industry. Yes,
yeah, we had him on the. We actually recorded from the floor, which was
that's awesome.
different and exciting.
That's
So we got the
awesome.
25-minute interview with him, which was fun. So we're gonna try to do some more cons next year for sure, and this year, 2024 for sure.
Yeah. So one thing I'm trying to integrate within the convention world, whether it be big or small, I think all of them should integrate podcasting. They should be including podcasting in their programming. So I have noticed a lot of the conventions, podcasters will get a table and set it up and set up a little podcast studio on the floor and interview guests and vendors and fellow attendees. And I see a lot more of that now. There's one convention in Omaha, Nebraska I went to a few years back, and they had a whole podcast section. So
Awesome.
yeah, so if you go to Comic Con, one of the featured areas is called Artist Alley, where they feature all the artists and writers in their own section. And what they did was they created a podcast alley, and it was cool. They had about eight to 10 podcasters all set up. They gave them free reign with their space. Like, hey, if you want to make your own set or bring a couch and a rug or trick it out, feel free to
Right.
do that. And what was cool was all the other podcasters interacted and interviewed each other. Then I came over and I went and I sat down for like 10, 15-minute interviews with each podcast. And I thought that was really great. And I think this is this is our future, my friends. I think every convention will have a podcast alley. So that's something I'm trying to maybe spearhead or get behind. And podcast alley at New York Comic Con, brought to you by Shared Universe. That's
Oh,
something.
there we go.
Something
Hey, well, if you need someone, let us know. We work really cheap.
Yeah.
We'll come out there.
Yeah. I think that would be really cool. I think that's what we're looking at in the future of convention world is the integration of two of my favorite things in the world.
Definitely. So recently, throughout this whole journey, I've always kept you in my back pocket, for any questions and things. What I like about you is you're not constantly trying to sell me a shared universe. Like, hey, like you didn't listen to an episode or anything like that and be like, oh, well, we could do your audio better. You gave us the tools and you just let us kind of just do our thing, and then you just supported that the whole time. So kind of like when we're doing some of these podcasts and the socials, we're getting all these people like trying to sell me stuff. And I got kind of irritated because I was like, I don't want all of your guys' I'm like, I still have no idea what I'm doing with this thing yet. Like, we're still learning. It's me and my kid having a good time. We're just having fun. And it got to a point where it rubbed me wrong. And I was like, Liam, I think 2024, we need to rebrand ourselves a little bit. And similar to your journey and Kevin Smith's journey is we have this revelation where we want to be indie pod, where we're just going to keep just doing it out of our house. If it's a little echoey, sure. If you hear the AC, his chair squeak, that's just going to be part of our calling card. That's going to be what we are. It's not the best sounding. We're doing some live streaming stuff soon. I did a test run yesterday, and it looked good. But could it be better? Sure. But I think right now, we're kind of just looking at how do we just maintain that heart of just being kind of indie. So you having worked with Kevin Smith since '96, what are some of the how is it working in indie film versus a larger production like Lucasfilm or Marvel? How is it working with indie?
That's a great question. I love indie film. So while I haven't been on a Marvel or Star Wars set yet, I've seen some of Kevin's bigger productions. I've been in a couple of big film sets, and the larger ones are definitely chaotic. There's 200 crew people running around, and it's chaotic, and there seems to be a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. We gotta get the shot. Everyone got to do this. It's also a lot of waiting around. They're waiting for lighting, and there are a lot of setups. While in indie film, you don't have time or budget to mess around. So for something like Kevin says, you're there, and you may do a couple takes. And it's like, okay, we got it. Let's move on. But what I really love about Kevin sets is very fun. It's very laid back. To me, it's probably a stark contrast to some of these bigger sets where, they're 2 days setup, maybe a whole week to set up a shot, and then everyone's under pressure, and there are probably executives visiting, seeing if you're wasting time and money. Whereas on Kevin sets, it's all about fun, and he's a very laid back director. He'll ask for what he wants, and he's not screaming at you or anything. And and typically, you nail it in a couple takes. Just very recently, back in September, Kevin graciously gave me a small part in his upcoming movie, the 4:30 movie, which I'm excited for everybody to see. Totally unexpected, and gave me something pretty fun, small part, but I actually got a couple lines, and we shot on a location, but literally from the time I got there to the time I left, it was 4 hours, and we shot for maybe 1 hour. So we got a pretty good chunk in there, very quick, very easy, and it's I got to see myself on screen. I saw a rough cut as well, and you guys are gonna be blown away for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
So
I like when Kevin Smith, early on, he's always kind of toted the use what you have and the people around you.
Yep.
He doesn't need the Robert Downey Jr.'s. He doesn't need to spend a budget on all the top listers. He's like, who do I have near me? And that's basically how he started. Was all of his friends were all. Walt was in Clerks 8 different scenes and different people.
The egg guy.
Yeah.
The cigarette pack guy.
Who else?
Yeah,
But what was nice about Kevin Smith in that first film is, we shot it at night because we didn't want to have to pay for lighting, and
Yep.
we did it in black and white because it
Yep.
was cheaper. And it's
Yep.
like that's kind of where we're at with Whimsy, with this idea of I like there's some value in the things that some of these people are selling, and I get it, but at the same time, it's just like don't take away our whimsy, like our whimsiness.
Yeah, I think the key is to keep it simple. The easier it is, the more you'll want to do it. If they're all a bunch of moving parts and for example, podcasting or this, what we're doing, we're working with what we have. Even here at the studio, I'm working with what I have. I don't have $1 million cameras here. I have pretty good microphones, but they could I buy $2,000 microphones? Yeah, I guess, but I would rather put that money into buying other things to accommodate my clients. I got a little lighting in here, but they work. I bought them on Amazon. They're not the best,
Right?
but the key is you meet a lot of people and like, oh man, I want to do it, but I want to wait till I can buy all this like fancy gear, or I want to, yeah, and they don't, and they never end up doing it. They're worried so much about making it perfect. They never
Right.
actually get to creating the content. And yeah, that's if you're watching this, you just use what you have and just get it going. You'll improve as you go along. You'll definitely improve as you go along. But the important part is just to go and create it, and that's what I love about you guys. You guys have you guys started out small. You guys looking pretty pro back there right now, and of course, there's always more stuff that we want. It's a never-ending process, and yeah, I'm gonna be buying gear and lighting and all kinds of stuff until probably for the rest of my life. It's a constant effort to get better, of course, but that being said, it's not a constant effort to not even just start. Just to
Right.
yeah, the worst thing you can do is wait. I tell it to
Right.
every podcaster. It's like, oh, I've been thinking about podcasting. Well, stop thinking. Let's do it. I will help you out. Come in the studio. Let's record like a 15-minute show. Let me show you how much fun this is. So yeah.
Right.
So you just talked about like indie pod, but is there like an audience that like looks for indie pod?
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, some of the bigger podcasts on bigger networks or some of the celebrity ones, they'll get pushed out more by say Spotify or Apple. If you hit the podcast section or you open the podcast app, they'll be listed there. A lot of them pay to get listed on there, so that's tough to compete with if they're paying a lot of money to get on there. But that being said, the whole heart of podcasting is that it can be created by anybody. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't need to be on a big network. You don't have to have $1 million. All you need is you don't even need a microphone. You can pull out your smartphone, your iPhone,
Right.
record a pretty decent sounding podcast on there. So if you look at, I think they said there are like 14 million podcasts out there right now, and some ungodly number of episodes, like 48 million episodes. I would probably say about 95% of those are just created by guys like us. We
Right.
just do it. We're in our kitchens, we're in our basements, where we built our own studio. We're not part of a mass media company or anything. So the whole heart of podcasting is that it can be created by anybody.
Right.
Anybody with a voice can create a podcast. So I would say most podcasts are indie pods, and most podcasts being consumed by by virtue of so many out there are independent podcasts. So the problem is getting your word out there, getting your market out there. But that's much like podcasting, much like you're recording your own episodes and editing or doing all that work. It's also your job to get it out there, and that's
All right.
why post online that you have a new episode. Post every day that you've posted a new episode for the week. Post behind the scenes stuff. Take clips from
Right.
if you're doing video or even audio. If you're video audio, take small best of clips. Post those online. Clip out even 15, 30 seconds. Put that up as an Instagram reel. Get on TikTok. Throw some clips up on TikTok. The more people that you can reach, YouTube Shorts is
Right.
huge right now. Put it on there. You never know who's gonna find it, but it's it's another job marketing your podcast. But
Oh, for sure,
if you want
definitely.
people to listen, then you got to get out there and tell people about it,
Right.
and use whatever audience that you think you might have. Initially you're gonna build an audience, but you guys are Tom Steve Dave fans, so
Right.
um this episode, throw it up on they're the two Facebook groups that I lurk on. There's the Four Color Demons Facebook group. There's the TSD Town Facebook group. Post it up on that. They have Reddit. Throw it up on Reddit. However you can get people to listen to it.
Just listen to us, and then eventually they'll listen, and someone will listen. And we're not looking for and what's nice about it is right. We're not looking for the hundreds of millions of views and listens, but we're just looking for that nice just community who can kind of just enjoy the values that you and I both share.
Yeah, and what I love about this is we kind of target it. I talk about pop culture and comics, so that's the audience I'm going for, and those are the people who are going to listen to my podcast. And once they discover how much fun we have, and if they become fans of it, they become very rabid. I think the perfect example of this is Tell 'em Steve Dave. Tell 'em Steve Dave, if they come out with a new hat on Black Friday, you're gonna buy it. You did buy it.
I did.
Yeah, and and people are gonna show up to their studio on Black Friday and line up to get this hat. And I saw it. I was there. And not only that, while I didn't buy my own hat, I bought a bunch for other people who wanted it. So I know how rabid this fandom is. And guys like them, they've really taken advantage of it. They came with great content on their Patreon. They've got like almost 8,000 Patreon subscribers, and they're not only are they able to entertain people, make them really happy, and kind of cultivate this really cool community or fandom, but they're also able to live off of it as well. So that way, Brian Johnson doesn't have to get a real job still. So yeah.
Well, and it's kind of like with that, like they started off. I mean, they had the following from View Askew and Kevin Smith, so they had that kind of built in, but they didn't start doing the Patreon until a couple of years ago. So like they started off pretty small for a minute, and now they're just blowing up and creating content like crazy. Walt Flanagan, the ideas this guy has is crazy.
Walt Flanagan is a genius, my friends. I know on the surface he might not say it a lot. He might seem a little surly, and he seems very unassuming. But that guy, man, if you watch Comic Book Men, I would say more than half of those plot lines Walt Flanagan came up with because I always say, well, Walt hates everything, but when he finds something that he likes or that he wants to do, look out, he's pretty dangerous, and he's proven that time and time again. So, but yeah, cultivating that fandom, and yeah, like you said, Tell 'em Steve Dave didn't become popular overnight. It took them years to get to where they were. So they started way back in 2009, and they're very consistent. I would say. The TV show on both our ends, Impractical Jokers and Comic Men, definitely helped. But it's really their content that really shines, and that's the reason why people love them so much. It wasn't because they're on TV or because they're famous. It's just because they're funny and they're weird, and and they're jerks, and but they're jerks with heart and weird stories, and it's just it's the three of them. It's just like it's like a perfect storm of like I don't even know what you call it, but it's entertaining. It's so entertaining. Even though I appear on there every so often, even though I got made fun of a lot, I'm that same guy. When they release a new episode, I listen to it immediately.
Perfect.
So we've been talking about TESD now, but like you just said that like you got made fun of a lot.
Yeah.
But do you have like a favorite moment, including Patreon too, with like a game show or something you've done with TESD?
I mean, so many favorite moments. I think winning the Blue Juice Comics Invitational 1-3 Championship was definitely a highlight. That was a couple of reasons why I love that one so much. One, of course, I won finally. I very rarely do I win anything on Tell 'em Steve Dave, and that's usually because the cards are stacked against me. And I should know this because the guy on the show is creating the games. He makes his own rules. So of course I'm gonna end up with a tattoo. I'm gonna end up looking at poop pictures. Like, of course that's gonna happen. But that one, that was a legit competition, and I didn't think I was gonna win. I don't think I'm a very good liar at all, and I don't think I'm that. I'm horrible at 1-3. Just listening to that first episode I ever did with Wall, he got really mad at me because I screwed up the game, apparently, in his eyes. So talk about ultimate redemption, to go from that to winning it all. That was pretty cool. But yeah, honestly, that episode took like 5 hours to record. So by the end of it, I was still in it. And I really just wanted to get out of there. I was like, can I just lose already? But I kept winning.
Right.
And the way I won was I had to pick out which one was not true, which true was not true. That's tough. That's hard. I think
Right.
that's the toughest part. To give out 3 stories and at least you kind of have a 1 in 3 chance of winning that. But on the other end, you got to pick out the right one. And somehow I kept going. The other reason why I love that episode so much is I remember before the competition, I went on Reddit and I went on the message boards, and there were so many people speculating. It's like, oh man, I can't wait. It's going to come down to Q and Johnson at the end, no doubt. They're really good liars. They have good stories. I can't wait to see them battle it out with each other. That was the matchup everybody wanted to see, and I think both those guys kind of went out in the first round. They went out very early,
Yeah.
so that. And I love that it came down to me and Mike because no one wanted to see that. No one really wanted
Right.
to
I
see
saw
that.
comics like the rival podcast of Telling Steve Dave.
Yeah, the rival
both in the
podcast.
finals.
Yeah, and when I found out I won, I was pretty happy. So
Well,
not
all of you, everybody listening, if you want to hear Ming Chen be a good liar and deducer, episodes 264 on Tell 'em Steve Dave. They're probably some of the funnest episodes that you'll ever hear. They were there for, like you said, 5 hours, and they just recorded for hours, and it was a 2-parter. So it was a good episode. But you can see Ming's highlight in 264 on Tell 'em Steve Dave.
Yeah, and I believe 265 as well as a 2-parter was so long. So you get kind of a cliffhanger, and then you get the ending, which was fun. The Christmas episodes are always fun. The most recent one was really awesome. We kind of did a white elephant kind of deal. That was the concept, and I like those because Walt pours. He spends all year thinking up what to do for that one episode. So, and at this time, at this point, it's a tradition that it's not Christmas until you're the Tell 'em Steve Dave Christmas special.
For sure.
Yeah, that one's good. The Get 'em Wedding was pretty awesome. I think that was episode 300.
Right.
The Brian Quinn roast was definitely a highlight.
Vinylcast 2.
Vinylcast 2, yeah, immortalized on a record and vinyl. So yeah, that was pretty amazing as well. So yeah, a lot of great moments for sure. I think the most recent episode where I got the Maverick Award, a local award, and then they brought me on to talk about it and bust my balls about it a little bit. That was fun because it kind of ended up being they ended up being kind of complimentary actually, which was weird. But
they apologized. They're like, no, he is a Maverick. He's doing a bunch of stuff out there.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So that was definitely fun. So I think, and there's a lot of stuff to come. I think these guys have no end in sight, and I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Very nice.
Yeah, I've looked at some of the Patreon stuff, and I remember there was one that really stuck out to me, which was the sports one when you guys were all playing sports.
Oh yeah.
And all of you guys just old, and like playing baseball and stuff, and having a good old time.
Yeah. That's always funny. Is these are games we used to play as kids, right? So when I haven't played wiffle ball in so long, and I was like, all right, I still got this, right? And I'm striking out, and I can't hit the ball, I can't catch, can't run as fast as I used to. It's not just me; it's a whole bunch of us. Like, oh, jeez, man. Yeah, it's funny watching old dudes try to do stuff that they used to be able to do. I guess so. That was fun. I was invited there was a part 2. I was invited there, but I wasn't in town, so I had to miss out on that. So I missed out on that, and the Brian Nichelle, the muscular Brian Nichelle running around. So hopefully I'll be, when they do a third one, I'll be there.
You really encourage a young audience, but do your kids listen to TESD or any of your podcasts?
I don't believe my kids have ever listened to a podcast episode. They've watched a couple episodes of Comic Book Ben, but they certainly haven't seen all 96. I think the one that they really liked was there's season 1, episode 3 is entitled Commercial. And it's one where we make a wacky commercial for the stash. And our tagline in the commercial is, "We got that," and they love that part. That was the only part they liked. But other than that, yeah, I don't think they've really watched it. Certainly out there, accessible if they ever want to see it. But very rarely, as the thing I learned very quickly as a parent is when you have kids, your kids never think you're cool. Like no matter what you do, You're
My
not.
dad's still alive.
It's hard to be cool, and I get it. I get it. You know, unless if I was animated and appeared on SpongeBob, I probably would have been cool. If I showed up
Right.
on iCarly back in the day, I might have been cool. But you know, if I showed up on Yo Gabba Gabba, I would have been cool. But that's pretty tough, man. That's pretty tough. So yeah, they're not really entrenched in the Kevin Smith world. I think they've seen Impractical Jokers, but I have not been invited on there yet. And even though I was on TV, I've been in a couple movies. Yeah, I'm still not really cool in their eyes. So I get it. I get it. It's
How
tough.
old are they now?
My daughter's 18 and my son's 16, so they're certainly
Oh.
old enough to watch and appreciate
Right.
it. But it's your dad. It's like
Yeah, give it a little time. They'll find it in their early 20s and be like, this is it's kind of like what we're doing here. Is like Sophie's 3,
Yeah.
and just the idea that one day she's going to listen 15 years back and be like, I can't believe that's my dad.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool is imagine what I love about this. Imagine you're digging around in a closet somewhere and you find a box of tapes and you find out that your mom or dad was like used to be a radio DJ and they never told
Right.
you and they had all this hours of recorded content. How cool would that have been? Now my dad
Right.
wasn't a DJ that I know of. I don't think my mom's ever recorded or anything. But now, guys like me and you and you guys, we have these episodes. We have these kind of snapshots in time which our grandkids could listen to or relatives, they could go back and listen to all these and get a sense of their history and what things were like in their family back then. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Your Maverick Award, I think a large part of that, you receiving that award, was just your constant just support and fandom of not just like comic book stuff, but just of local businesses, Monmouth County, New Jersey, Red Bank. You even did a little bit of work with, or you met with a elementary school, the Bulldog's Passion.
Yeah.
How was that?
That was cool. So somebody had heard about a shared universe, the studio, and I got an email from a teacher. It was like, "Hey, so I'm in a pretty cool school. I have a bunch. I believe there's 6, 7, and 8 year olds. They're somewhere in that neighborhood, so they're very young. And it's like, hey, we started podcasting, and we're doing great, and the kids love it. But they want to see a real studio. Is there any chance I could bring them down? What's this going to cost? Could we pick out a date?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, absolutely. Bring the kids down. Like, this is awesome. This is something I would have loved to have done when I was a kid." So, we arranged the logistics. I think we had 10 or 11 kids come down about a year ago. So for the first maybe half hour or so, I told them about why I do what I do, why podcasting is awesome, why they're awesome. And then for the next hour or so, we recorded. So they had stuff that they prepared. They interviewed each other. They interviewed me. It was really fun, and I heard the kids had a lot of fun afterwards, and I hopefully it propelled them into wanting to do it even more, and it went so well that on Wednesday, coming up in a few days this week, they're coming back. The new class is coming back, and I can't wait to see them again. So. And
I did not know that when I wrote this outline. That's so cool.
Yeah, they're coming back, and not only that, they're not the only ones. I've had another school, kind of on the opposite end. They're more high school kids, and they're at a private school. It's a school. They're a high end private school. So like Bon Jovi sent his kids there. I think like Springsteen's kids used to go over there. Like people like more people with a budget, shall we say, or more famous. That's where they send their kids. They contacted me. He's like, "Hey, we've been podcasting. Can we come down?" I was like, "Absolutely, come down." And by the way, if you have a job opening for a podcast teacher, like, "Oh, hey man, I'm here." So, they have not called me back about that yet, but I want to have them back in. And then, in addition to kids coming here, I go to schools as well. I go to a lot of high schools, and I'll bring gear and try to encourage those kids to podcast. In the end, you have kids. I have kids. We've seen kids. We know kids. What do kids love to do? They love to talk, man. They love to talk.
Right.
And they're, if you're and they talk very passionately about what they love. And if you're gonna do that, might as well record it, put it out as a podcast, share it with the world. So that's what I'm trying to encourage. But Yeah, I love that. I love seeing younger kids come in and like, whoa, this is really cool, and getting them into podcasting at a younger age. Like me and you, this is something we would have killed for if
Right.
we were 7, 8, and so yeah, I love seeing younger people podcasting.
Well, you just said 7 or 8, and I actually have a little cousin that's 9 who is actually working on a book right now, and we got him a little like recorder, like a handheld one,
Yeah,
and he just sits down and he talks about his little idea and sits there, and then we turn them into little podcast episodes to kind of share his idea
that's awesome.
because uh, you and Kevin Smith tried really hard to encourage young kids to podcast.
Yeah, just
So we
just create, right? Just create, whether it be a podcast, YouTube video, TikTok, whatever. We have it's so easy now to create something yourself, and you can be any age. Create something yourself and put it out there for other people to enjoy, and I think that's pretty good. And who knows, you might blow up. You might be like that guy. I think his name's Evan or whatever. Unboxing stuff. He's making like 20 million a year now.
Right.
You could be the next Ninja. You could be the next whoever. You just never know.
Right. I think that's all we got for you. I know you got to get going. Do you have any projects coming up for 2024?
You'll see me in Kevin's new movie. It's called the 4:30 movie. Very proud to have him ask me to be in that. Yeah, I'll probably be at a convention near you at some point. So hopefully we get to see each other in person. Maybe do some
Definitely.
podcasting at a convention. Let me work on getting closer to where you guys are, which would be a lot of fun. Yeah, Arizona, correct? So
Yes.
yeah, I know Phoenix got a fan fusion down there. They have not invited me yet, but let me work on that. I will be. I'll be in El Paso. I know it's New Mexico, but I've been. There's a con in Tucson, which I've been to before, and they're all around. Let me work on getting near you guys somehow,
All right.
for sure. And then
And then you
yeah,
have the 2 cruises, you said, right?
yeah, the Impractical Jokers cruise is in 2 weeks, which I'm very excited about, and the Kevin Smith cruise is in late February. But the IJ cruise I'm excited about simply for one reason. Brian Johnson's been on there, I think, 3 times, and even
Yeah.
met his future wife on the cruise. But my takeaway was I see him afterwards, like, oh man, it was so much fun. You got to come. You got to come. I had so much fun. I'm like, wait, you never have fun. I've never seen you look forward to anything. Rarely do I see you having fun. If this cruise is that fun that you're enjoying it, then I gotta go. Like, imagine me, Mr. Fun. I have fun no matter where I am. Imagine me
Right.
going on this. I can't. Yeah, I can't wait. So I'll have stories for sure to bring back for you guys.
Liam's getting ready to go to an Impractical Jokers show
Oh, you're gonna
next
love it.
week.
You're gonna
Any
love it.
any suggestions, ideas for him to help stand out a little bit?
If you have Tell Him Steve Dave gear, Q, if he sees it, he usually points it out, or he'll draw attention to anybody who tell him Steve Dave gear. So hats, shirts. I don't know if they let you bring in signs, that might help. But
All right.
yeah, definitely Q, definitely if he sees any TESD stuff, he'll definitely he'll notice it for sure.
Very cool. We are 6 months in, so another 6 months will be our 1-year anniversary. You gonna come back and hang out again?
I'm here anytime you guys need me, my friends. So yeah, I
Cool.
love you guys. Congratulations on 37 episodes. Can't wait for 137, 237, 37, 37. You guys are doing great, and I'm here to help you guys out in any way I can. But you guys are amazing, and I really couldn't be happier.
Very cool.
Congratulations, Whimsy.